Hey everyone, it's Bertha Bioga, and I'm here in the Smart Review for Hurry Up Tomorrow, the new film directed by Trey Edward Schultz and starring Abel Tesfaye, Jenna Ortega, and also Barry Keoghan in the lead roles. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot that this movie is trying to say. I'll say this: if you look at the Letterboxd score for this film so far, it is highly divisive, and I think by the end of 2025, it will be by far, in my personal opinion, the most divisive film of the year. Because you're either going to love this movie, if you're a huge Weeknd fan, if you've been following The Weeknd since his Balloon era till now, you're going to love this film. It is catered, packaged, and pretty much curated for a Weeknd fan or a fanatic of The Weeknd or Abel in general. Even if you're a casual fan, I think you will like this movie. I'm just a casual fan of The Weeknd's, and for me, this is a 6 out of 10. I'm going to get into some spoilers later on, but yeah, let me just get through this encapsulated review right now. This is a very bold, very experimental, very sensory-based film. Highly visual. This could have easily been a visual album, but I'll give them credit, and I'll give them some kudos to the whole team in terms of having this as a movie, because again, it's very original. It is kind of like if The Weeknd made his own version of Stephen King's Misery with an additional introspective look at his own personal life through his music and through probably stuff that he's gone through in his personal life, interjected into the Misery type of story here. But yeah, it's a 6 out of 10. I'll say this: you're not going to forget this movie. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing for some people. It didn't work as much as I wanted it to for me, but personally, I think it's still an okay watch. So yeah, if you want to know nothing about this film in terms of spoilers, stop this review right now, because I'm going to give you some spoilers within the story of the film and the review in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so there's a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue that is being shown to you here, even though ironically, there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie. There's a lot of singing. There's a lot of mini conversational pieces amongst this sensory, highly visual film. There's a lot of wild camera movements. There's a lot of flowing lights. It's like when you leave after watching this movie, your eyes are going to be kind of just looking all over the place, because there was so much things happening that you just need to kind of take a visual break from things in general. The Weeknd is a very visual artist. Obviously, we've known this since the start of his career. And going from that black and white era to what he's doing now is very interesting. It's a metamorphosis of some sorts. He's changing a lot throughout the years in terms of his sound, in terms of his visual, imagery, in terms of the stories that he's trying to tell. Here in Hurry Up Tomorrow, it is pretty much almost like a psychological therapy session of what he has gone through, what he's dealt with fame, with music, with all of the stuff that he's done so far in his career. And yeah, it really feels like he utilized this movie in order to kind of get things out of the way, in order to move forward with his career as Abel. Because again, he's apparently throwing away the moniker and persona of The Weeknd soon and going just as Abel for the rest of his career, or that's what he's saying. And because he's such a guarded individual and we don't really know much about his personal life and much about stuff that he does on a daily basis, because I don't think he has social media. I don't think he does. But yeah, because of that, watching this movie is kind of interesting, because again, even though this is a highly stylized and highly produced vanity project, it's still kind of interesting because we kind of get to see and hear and think what he's going through. Now, obviously, The Weeknd's going through a lot here. It's an odyssey kind of adventure or thrill ride or psychological drama. I would say instead of a psychological thriller, this is more of an existential crisis drama. I'll say that. Barry Keoghan and Jenna Ortega are playing facets of his personality. I think that Barry Keoghan's character is an interpretation of the ego that he has and, the kind of control that he wants in his career and the things that he has to do in order to, satisfy maybe the label or the producers that he works with or the fans that he has to cater towards to, or so on and so forth. And then Jenna Ortega is probably the love and compassion that he's craving for, and the kind of comfort that he wants throughout all the chaos that is happening around him. And they're both manifestations of those things. Well, that's just my interpretation, but I feel like they're both manifestations of those things that I just talked about, and visually they're there to kind of represent whatever he's going through as the story progresses. Again, I think they did a decent job doing that. I felt like the film could have focused a little bit more on the commentary that he was trying to say with both of those characters, but I think that the strongest parts of this movie were definitely with Jenna Ortega's character. And Jenna Ortega is probably the most hardest working star in the industry right now. I don't know anyone else that has had as much films as she's had in the last couple of years, because I think every single year she's had like 3 or 4 films per year. Just in this year alone, she's already had, I think, 3 movies. Well, I know she had a movie on a streaming website like just a month ago, and now she has this, and now like just a couple of months prior to that, she had Beetlejuice, and then she has another film later on this year, I believe. But yeah, she is the person that steals the show here, because again, she is such a gifted performer, and I think that Barry Keoghan is decent here too. I think he's doing the usual Barry Keoghan-ness stuff that he does, but Jenna Ortega is so gifted that when she cries and when she's like going through the emotions here, she is so dynamic, and she's really stealing the show. Abel has improved from the Idol here, but I still feel like he's a little bit shaky as an actor. There's some perplexing sequences here in terms of his acting abilities, but I think he masks that when he goes into the emotional depths of the story. Because again, there's a lot of his personal life here that is integrated into the story, especially when he loses his voice. Famously, he lost his voice at a concert, canceled the concert just a little bit of a ways into that concert. So that's pretty much captured here too. When he's talking about and when he's experiencing heartbreak, I can see some really genuine emotion there, but I feel like outside of that, he still has a long ways away to become a good actor, in my personal opinion. And pretty much, I feel like the last portion of this film, it's very hit and miss. Again, I respect that they tried a lot of different things here and they swung the bat a lot here, but that last portion where, Jenna Ortega is kind of like going through his catalog a little bit and talking about like which songs have certain meanings towards like maybe his personal life and maybe things in general, it almost felt like it was a critique that The Weeknd was trying to do on his own self about the songs that he's done in the past. Maybe the whole metaphor about burning that room and burning, his old self in that room and leaving that room is that he's burning the bridge that was there with The Weeknd as he's moving forward as Abel. That's just how I'm interpreting it. And also when he's like stuck to the bed and Jenna is like dancing and like critiquing all those songs, is that him critiquing his music and saying that all of the things that he was talking about in the past, they're kind of all done with, and he had to go through the emotions of reliving those songs face to face, and once he burned that room, he's done with that and he's able to move on and kind of come to terms with the songs that he's made. I don't know, maybe that's what he was trying to do. I don't know. There's a lot of things happening in this movie, and again, as a kind of like a mid-tier budget or like a kind of lower tier budget film that has some noticeable stars, that has noticeable talent, when a film like this swings for the fences, I congratulate these types of movies, because again, they could have easily made this straightforward and very understandable, very easy to be palatable, so on and so forth. But I appreciate that The Weeknd and the team have made the movie in this way. Even though it didn't work out for me in totality, still, it's a unique experience, and I'll give him that. So yeah, it's a 6 out of 10. If you're a fan of The Weeknd, you will love this. If you're not a fan, you will probably hate this. Either way, it's an unforgettable experience. I'm not going to forget it. And yeah, go watch it if you want.